few things I wish I knew before I moved to Lagos. If you're looking to relocate to Lagos, either for work or maybe for your NYC, or you just want to like move cities, these are my personal experiences and I hope you can actually learn from them. Now, note again, these are my personal experiences. Another person's own could be different, right? I've been to 7 states in Nigeria and I've lived across three, right? And I must tell you that culture shock within your local country is actually really a thing. So pay attention. The first thing I would actually tell you is this: secure accommodation. I know that sounds vague. I know it is a general thing to do, right? But it's not as easy as you think it is here in Lagos. If you're coming for your NYSC or you're relocating newly, except you have a boatload of money to live in a comfortable area, if you can preferably sort it out even before you move, that would even be much better because one thing I've actually noticed is Lagos it actually has the most expensive real estate business in the country, right? That is just my opinion and it's obviously what I've noticed, right? You see spaces that are very, very small and tiny going for ridiculous amounts of money, but that's by the way. And if you're fortunate enough to have family here, I think it's better you actually stick with family, build, gather yourself, and before you decide to now move. I saw things when I moved here, believe me. Another pro tip I'll give you is this: if you are looking for where to stay, I would rather you try as much as possible to get a place that is not so far from your workplace, except if the company you're working for is offering transport services, right? So Lagos is dissected into two parts. You have the mainland and you have the island, right? People who live in the mainland work on the island sometimes, and we have companies that will sort out transportation. They have buses that take them to certain bus stops and all that. I haven't really been in the corporate sector in Lagos before, but I actually have friends that work in the corporate sector. So yeah, I see what they go through and I'm like very, 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 very sad for them. But yeah, which brings me to my next experience: transportation and traffic. So transport is very expensive in Lagos. Public transport, or if you're the type that likes convenience and you like to use Uber, Bolt, or InDrive, right? It's very expensive and traffic is crazy. That's why I suggested that you try as much as possible to get a place close to where you work. Another thing is, if you're somebody that can afford to buy a car, please buy a car. Please buy a car. And if you can't afford it, this is what you should actually do. If you have to be somewhere by 10 a.m., please wake up as early as 5 or 6 to prepare. And as soon as you're done preparing, if it's on a weekday, leave your house immediately. Because one thing I've actually learned is if you're in a hurry to be somewhere, public transport is your biggest enemy. And if you ever have to use public transport, you leave earlier because they would stop across numerous bus stops, and that can actually be very, very, very time wasting. And you would have to experience traffic, especially on weekdays, mostly in the mornings or in the evenings. In the mornings when everybody's going to work, evenings when everybody's coming back from work. The only time you tend to avoid traffic sometimes is weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, right? So if it's possible for you to buy a car, please buy a car. But if you're going to be frequenting public transportation, I'll give an account of my experience, right? I'm a private chef here in Lagos, and sometimes I get clients and all that. So I remember the day before my birthday, this was in June, I had a job to do for a client, right? So I was expecting a call around, say, 12 p.m.-ish. But she didn't call me until 5 p.m. and she asked if I could be at her place as early as 7. Now, I stay in Shaga. The job was at Surulere. God, this is so funny. So my mind was, on a normal day, without traffic and anything, right? Surulere to Shaga is not far. But that day, I left my house around, I think 5:30 to 6, right? I got to Ogba and it was about to rain on a weekday. My mind didn't even go on time. So I looked to my left, looked to my right. Buses weren't even like, coming forward. That was when I was just forced to now use InDrive that day. And when I was actually even going, there was traffic. And I didn't get to the woman's place until 8 p.m. that night. It just dawned on me that, oh, I think if she had called me earlier, I would have left my house earlier to get to her place. Maybe I would have gotten there around the time that she wanted me to be there. Right? So I say that to say this. If you cannot afford a car, you cannot do shakara. You need to leave your house sometimes 2 hours early or maybe 1 hour early, depending on the distance of where you are going to from your place, right? And I'm hammering on getting a car if you can, because transport in Lagos is not it's not for the weak. It is not for the weak. I'm dead ass serious, because you close your eyes and you open it, you realize you've spent a ridiculous amount of money. Another experience, right? This was, I think, sometime last year, December. And I can even understand that, okay, fine, transport is like hyper expensive during December period because of the IJGBs, dirty December culture that we have here, right? So my friend and I were going for an event in VI, and Surulere to VI is just what, depending on where you're going to and how fast your journey is, it's just 15 minutes, right? But sometimes you can use more than that time getting to where you're going to, right? So I remember that day we spent well over close to 30k to and fro on ride at VI here. You understand? So it's crazy. If you can afford certain conveniences, please, by all means, see, don't deny yourself. I'm telling you, right? So it takes me to my next point. If you're somebody that cannot cook, if you don't know how to meal prep, if you don't know how to manage resources that comes with feeding yourself, you overspend. You close your eyes and you open it, there's a restaurant somewhere. You check your phone, there are apps that you can actually use to order food. Chowdeck in general, right? Glovo, or certain, food tech apps that we have here, right? And it's crazy. It's easy for me because I know how to cook, right? I'm a chef. I've worked in a restaurant. That was the first job I actually had when I moved to Lagos. It was just, I decided to not cook for a whole damn week, and I knew how much less my account, right? So you need to know how to cook, you need to know how to meal prep. Once in a while you can decide to treat yourself to certain things, but it's very important that you actually know how to manage your resources here as well, because this place is expensive. Another thing I know I like about this city is the fact that there is a budget for everybody, right? As expensive as Lagos can be, you would also get things that are suited to your level in life. Not everything, but at least most of the things that you need. Like if you're someone who likes fashion, for example, you don't necessarily have to buy expensive things to wear to, go out and drip and all that. I think there's always going to be an exception for footwear, but you have grade B sneakers as well. But certain things like maybe loafers or actual dress shoes are mad expensive here, right? Except if you want to buy crazy ass knockoffs, right? So you can go to places like Katangwa to get fits. There's shops. There are shops in Ogba that you can also get fits from. There's a shit ton of things that you can actually get. And apart from that, I think the proximity. This is just my experience again. You tend to engage with celebrities a lot. You would bump into them if you're somebody that goes out a lot. And I think in my 10 months of staying here, I've been able to go out quite a few times, and I've been able to bump into certain celebrities. Some of them I spoke to, others I didn't. So another thing that I would also point out is, if you're somebody who likes the idea of meeting celebrities and talking to celebrities, you get to experience a lot of that in Lagos, because the proximity to celebrities here is very, 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 very crazy, right? And that's considering the fact that Lagos is like the entertainment hub of Nigeria and Africa as a whole. So you tend to meet celebrities if you're somebody that goes out a lot, right? And I've met a couple of celebrities myself. I think the first celebrity I met in Lagos was this Nollywood actor, Dayemi Okono. Then I've seen Tiwa Savage, I've seen Tenny, I've seen Daria Atalade. I saw all these people all on the same day because I went for this Entertainment Week Africa thingy, right? This was sometime last year as well too. And moving on, going for concerts, you tend to meet a lot of your faves, right? And music events and music executives, a lot of those things. If you're somebody that loves entertainment and loves the entertainment world, Lagos is actually your yardstick to greatness, right? One other thing that I would point out is the fact that you cannot be a business person here in Lagos and be introverted. It doesn't work. If you don't go out, you have to go out. If you don't mix with people, you have to mix with people. You have to network. It's one of the very, very, very important things. Even as a corporate person too, anytime you get the chance to, you do that because people have blood money in this city. I'm not even capping, right? And if you're somebody that likes to go out, if you're somebody that likes to have fun, Lagos is like your place. I've actually been to a couple of concerts and events since I moved here. I've been to art tours, I've been to music events, I've been to creators events, so it's pretty much the same thing. And besides, another thing that I'll point out is you have a lot of opportunities here if you know how to place yourself properly, right? You If you're somebody that's into business, that's into tech, that's into the creator economy, it's a whole lot. You tend to just experience life generally here, right? And if you're someone that is slow, when I mean slow, you're used to living on the back end of Nigeria, or like you're someone who is calm and pretty chill, you're going to have to throw a lot of that outside the window. Or maybe you reserve it for when you're in your house, because going out in the streets of Lagos can be crazy. And there's a different rule for every community you find yourself, or for every area you find yourself in. Like, the same rules that apply to Agege does not apply to Surulere. The same rules that apply to Surulere does not apply to Ikeja. Now, I'll give context to that. I remember when I went to pick up my friend at the train station in Agege, I didn't exactly know my way around Agege as much because it's not really where I normally frequent, but obviously I always pass through there if I'm coming from Ikeja, right? So, me trying to find the train station right now, I had my phone out. And this guy just walks up to me and he's like, Alpha, Onda, right? Stretching his hand to get my phone. And typical me now, I don't take bullshit, so I just brushed him off, right? I'm like, dude, get the heck out of my way, I beg. Next thing I know, about 8 guys coming from different surroundings, like different parts of where I was, trying to jump me at that point in time. It took the grace of God and my sharp wits to get out of that situation that day. I just realized that they were following me on the right, on the left, and behind. I looked to my right, looked to my left. I saw that these guys were not budging. So I just had to think of the next best thing to do. The Holy Spirit just told me to just walk into a store. So I walked into the store and this woman goes, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know." These guys are like, and they were like, or she was like, rather, "Did you bring out your phone?" And I'm like, "Yes, why?" And she goes, "You don't bring out your phone in this area." And anytime I go out, my phone is usually in my hand, right? And that's because maybe most of the places I go to are always chill and calm or very urban. You don't tend to experience these things there, right? So I was thinking Agege was almost like that. And it's not just even Agege alone. There are places you go to in Lagos that you shouldn't even bring out anything that would attract attention, right? Which brings me to my next point. Google Maps is your friend if you're a new Lagosian. I repeat this, Google Maps is your friend because at a point, this might not happen to everybody, but it's going to happen to 90% of people that are moving to Lagos for the first time, right? At a point, you go lost. At a point, you get lost and you need to find your way. Or better still, you might tell a keke man or a bike man or a bus that you're going to a certain place and they will take you to the wrong place, right? So Google Maps has like saved me numerous times than I can count here in Lagos. Especially my first few months, like the first 3 months of me moving here. I remember when I got lost in Oshodi. This was even me and a friend, right? A younger friend actually. And his mom put him in my care. We went for a video shoot. When we were going back to where he was supposed to, crash for the night, we got lost. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with them. I think the place is Shogun. I haven't been to Oshodi since that time. I'm still traumatized, right? So Shogunle is splitted into two parts in Oshodi. You have where they sell spare parts and you have the bus stop. I was going to the bus stop. So randomly, I had missed my stop. So when we got to the last bus stop of where the bus was supposed to take us to, I had to ask around, please, I'm going to Shogunle. And they directed me back to where they sell spare parts. And the distance between where they sell spare parts and the junction, and the bus stop rather, dear Father in heaven, I trekked that night. So lucky for us, we met with one very, very amazing woman who put us on bike, right? And the bike was taking us to the bus stop. So I brought out my phone. I just had this nudge in my spirit to bring out my phone to use Google Maps to track where I was going to, because I knew where I was going to, but getting to the place was the issue, right? So I was checking our movements on Google Maps. Then this bike man decides to take the wrong turn. I had to call him back that, bros, this is not where I'm going to. This is where I'm going to. Before he took me there. If not, that would have been another catastrophe entirely. And this was going to like almost 9 p.m. at night. And I was still going back to Surulere from Oshodi. That was how I was able to get out my friend to where I was supposed to stay. Then on going back, it was crazy traffic, So I think people's experiences would differ here in Lagos, considering your proximity to certain areas, your financial capability, and what you do as a whole, right? So, but for the average Nigerian, you will see things, right? And sometimes another person's experience might not be the same thing with you, but they are just core things that you would experience, and that is traffic, and that is you leaving your house earlier, maybe 2 hours earlier than 2 hours earlier, to the time you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be, right? You knowing how to manage your resources, transportation being expensive, you understand. Another thing about Lagos that I love is it teaches you to be resilient, right? There's this saying, if you're not sharp for Las Gidi, you know if you're sharp for anywhere in the world. I don't know how they actually put it, but I don't believe that's literally true, but Lagos just teaches you resilience, and it has a way of bringing out the animal in you. Before you guys come for me, now let me explain. I was having a conversation with my friend who lives in Ibadan, because I moved from Ibadan to Lagos, right? She's serving here currently. So we're having a conversation and she was telling me and lamenting about the fact that, she does not like how Lagos is, the Lagos smells, it's too jam-packed, this and that. And in fairness, you get to certain places in Lagos and your stomach will, whine you because of the smell that you're getting, right? And I told her something. I was like, well, just try as much as possible to not budge in to certain cultural practices, but have this one at the back of your mind. They will bring out the animal in you. And she was like, I fear that is already happening. Same thing with me too. I'm a very quiet person. I don't talk as much. But some conductors will just have a way of bringing out the animal in you, and you will just find yourself saying things that you never imagined you would say. And my first experience with a public bus in Lagos on my own, right? This fine lady was arguing with the conductor over 100 naira change. I was stunned. I'm like, madam, why? Right? Brings me to my next point. If you are boarding a bus in Lagos and you give conductor money and you are supposed to receive change, remind the conductor. You know the way Mosquito used to sing in your ear? Wee, wee. You understand? That's how you should remind the conductor that you actually want to collect your change, because you realize that at the end of the day, they will just not give you your change at all. You understand? So that's just the ish. And if you're somebody that gives into peer pressure, you will never be happy in this city. You just need to know how to make your own happiness. You need to know how to find your clique. Making friends is easy here in Lagos because you would obviously find people like you, right? If you position yourself in the right places and in the right spaces, yeah. So you would see people that are doing very well than you are. And if you're someone that is not comfortable with yourself, I'm not saying you shouldn't be motivated, but if you're somebody that is not comfortable with yourself, you're not grateful for what you have, you'll find yourself doing despicable things. I promise you. It took a lot for me to caution myself here in this city because when I started going out and I started seeing things, I was like, God, what am I doing with my life? Like I said earlier, people have blood money in this city. Blood money. So you just need to know how to stay grounded, stay on your grind, and keep doing you, right? I don't know if I must have skipped a couple of things over the course of this video because I feel like I've experienced more than I'm actually sharing right now. And I'm just having this brain fog for no reason. Yeah, but if you have anything that you want to put, as if you're a Lagosian and you have anything that you want to touch on, you can put it in the comments below. I'll be happy to engage. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.